this video, I'm going to show you how to do a classic quote. So from your home page here, we go to Classic Quote on the left-hand side, and we start by completing in your client details. For the date of birth, you can either type out the full date of birth, or you can simply select their age from the drop-down menu. Add in some further details. With the occupation class, if your client has an occupation that is rated slightly differently than the default settings, you can actually change it by going in here, and you can make the selection to match the insurer software. We'll add a second adult. And we'll also add a child so that I can show you some stuff later on. Okay, now if you want to remove any lives assured, you can simply use the remove button down at the bottom here. Now you'll only see this pop up when you have an Advice Monster subscription. If you have a Research Monster subscription, you'll be going straight to the benefits screen. For Advice Monster customers, they have the option to run a needs analysis at this point. So we'll just start adding some benefits. I'll just do some generic options here. So you can choose the excess option that you'd like to go with. If you want to do any specialists and tests or GP cover. Just bear in mind that the more of the little niche benefits you select, such as these little tick boxes, it will end up excluding companies that don't meet that criteria. So just bear that in mind when you're doing your quote. So if you have advanced options for trauma, you can do all the buyback options, the TPD add-ons. And just be aware that some of these are very limiting on which companies will show up in your search results. For example, the instant buyback is only available for Estron and Partners Life, as where if you choose the generic buyback, it'll include all companies that offer a trauma buyback. You can select the serious trauma down here as well. And with the income protection, I'm going to purposely create some error messages so that we can show you how that works as well. But yeah, you can select your wait period, your benefit period, and if you want it to be taxable or non-taxable cover. Waiver of premium is automatically added to your quote if you have selected income or mortgage, and that will be matched to your income or mortgage cover wait period. However, you can change this if you want it to be different. Scrolling back up again, for the second life assured, if the person has identical cover to the first, you can simply use this big orange button here, and it automatically copies over all the cover with the exact same settings from the first person to the second person. You can still go down and make any changes you might want to make, but it will save you a bit of time doing this. For the children, it automatically adds whichever cover they're eligible for, and you just have to go in and add the relevant cover amounts or change the excess amounts that you might want to change. You can change the frequency down the side here to go yearly or fortnightly, and we'll just go and crunch and see what happens. Alright, so we have got some error messages as expected. So if you click on those error messages, it'll show you exactly what happened. So in this case, as we know, we've done some funny things with the income protection. So it's telling us to go back and fix that if we want to include that in our quote. So let's go back. I'm just going to make it more of a generic one now so that more companies will show up in our quote results. And just make sure you're doing it for both lives assured like I've just done, because they're both having the same product settings. So I do crunch again to see if that has resolved all our errors, and it has. Okay, now if you click on any of these logos down the side, you will be able to see a summary of the quote, and that'll tell you a bit more about the types of products that were used, any discounts that might have been applied, and anything else that you might find helpful. You can also make your selection for AIA vitality fees and discounts up here. And if you hover over these products and click on one of them, you can actually change them. So this is a really quick, easy way to switch between different products. So in this scenario, progressive care, critical conditions with early cancer, you can very easily switch between them and see how it might impact the premium. So that has made about a $20 difference there. I may choose to keep that, or I may choose to change it back again. Once I'm happy with all my product selections for the companies, I can go next. And now we're getting to the research stage. So if you are on a free Quotemonster subscription, you will not be able to see any of this. But if you are on a research or an Advice Monster subscription, you will have access to all of the features I'm going to show you right now. Advice Monster is a step further, but the stuff I'm going to show you today is for both Research Monster and Advice Monster. So this is our first research screen, where it gives you more of a visual representation of the premiums for each part of the policy. If you go to the next tab, Documents, it'll show you all the documents for each cover in your quote. These are all the current documents. We update them as soon as we have new documents available from each company. And if you scroll down here, you can make a selection for the different types of cover that you might need a brochure for, terms and conditions or application forms, anything like that. The next tab over is the research. And any settings that you change under this research tab will feed through to your report at the end. So it's quite good to spend a bit of time on the screen. Now, if you want to make any changes that are applicable to your entire package, your entire client, then I would suggest you do them here. So for example, I only want certain companies to show up in my research for whatever reason. So I've just unselected NIB because maybe I don't want NIB to show up because I might not be accredited with them. So now you can see that NIB has been removed. So let's have a look at some of the covers. So I've just selected health cover to do a bit of a deeper dive into the benefits there for my clients. You can sort by importance or alphabetical. The default setting is importance, so you only get the top benefits. If you do alphabetical, you get every single benefit, even if it's a super minor one. And depending on the type of client that you're sitting with or the type of research that you're doing yourself, you may need one or the other type of report. Just bear in mind, if you do alphabetical, it does feed through to your report at the end, and especially when it includes trauma, it can make for quite a lengthy report, but definitely worth it to have all those details there. So I've just changed it to alphabetical to show you there's quite a few more benefits to show now. You can also change the way that the report is displayed for you and your client. So the default setting is the star rating for me, but you can also go for the heat map. Now these colors may look a little unusual, but they have been chosen to make it easy for people that are colorblind as well to see the difference between the different colors. So that is why we have done that. And the last option is the benefit overview. So this is the very simple ticks and crosses, but obviously it doesn't really give you much information about which company may be better in some benefits than others. That's why the star rating is really good for that, because you can see the smallest of differences between things. Okay, now once you're happy with all of that and you've gone through all the covers and made sure you have the right company selected for each, you can go to the head-to-head, and if you want to, you can use this to do some more specific research between two companies. So for example, we'll do AIA and Partners Life. We'll stick with Minnie's health cover, but we could also select cover for someone else in that quote. We'll click compare, and it gives us a handy one-page report that can show our client a bit more detail. Now, this particular report is not included in your report at the end. You will have to download this as a summary report or a detailed report and attach it to your proposal at a later stage, or keep it on your client file. The difference between the detailed report and summary report is that the detailed report will include the relevant policy wordings for each of these benefits. So you can see the scores, you can see the product name, the types of excess that were selected, and if we have it available, we will show you the premium estimation as well. Now the next screen is underwriting. We do try and give you an idea of what any potential underwriting requirements may be. So for example, clients that have a very high BMI, they might be required to do some additional testing as part of the application process. So this can help you to manage expectations with your client as well. Now if we go next, we can put together our report. So the report here, the SIR report on the right-hand side, that's only for Advice Monster users. For our Research Monster users, we are sticking to the left side here, our research report. We can include full premium breakdowns. We can add a specific company report. So if we are confident in recommending one company over the other at this point, we can make a selection on that, and that will then include a one-page report that has been written by the company themselves, basically presenting themselves to your client of why they would be a great fit. But if you're not quite sure yet on what company you want to recommend at this point, you can just deselect that and not include that. You do want to include your research ratings, of course, and you can select what style you want it. So did you want the heat map, did you want the benefit overview, or did you want to stick with this star rating? With the full premium breakdown, I would recommend you select these two tables because they will include some really handy information for your client regarding if they were to change excess, how much would they change in premium, if they wanted to change wait periods, if they wanted to add or remove specialists and tests. You don't have to go back and do new quotes every time they ask you that question. They have actually got all the information in the report ready to go. Now you can email this report to yourself or a client, or you can simply start to generate the report. Okay, now my reports, because I am not a licensed financial advisor, will have the sample watermark, and they will also have the dinosaur with the balloons. There will be another video on how to change this to have your company logo in here instead of the dinosaur. And you can get your sample watermark removed by ensuring your advisor profile details are completed. If we have a valid FSP number for you on file, then you should not have a sample watermark on your reports. If you do, please give us a call and we're happy to help you fix that. So this is just the first page of the report. The second page with your advisor details, and then it comes into the research that we've just done together. So I'm just going to quickly show you what this looks like. So because we did select a company report, we selected AIA, it's giving us a bit more of a breakdown of that particular company and its products that we've selected. And here are those tables that I mentioned before, that if a client wants to change the wait period, change the excess, anything like that, it is going to show you here what the premium difference would be, so you do not have to go back and do a new quote every time. So that can be quite helpful. Alright, this is just another good page with some settings, so just another place for you to double check that you have selected the right products everywhere. And then it comes down into the research. So it's got your package scoring per person, so this is for mini. And that's going into health. Now because I did alphabetical, it's going to have a lot of items here. If I had stuck to the important settings, it would have had a lot fewer items, so it would have fitted on one page. So life, trauma, income, and I can see it's going for a package for Alex. So it's just going to go through all of that again for each individual that's included in your quote. Alright, so this is how you do a basic quote and report. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to give us a call or an email, and we'd be happy to assist.